Al Kadosh Boker Or Mishna Yomi Masechet Baba Kamma. Right, we are on Perek Tet, chapter 9, Mishnah Yod and Yod Aleph. Okay, so 10 and 11. Haomer livno kunam iata neena misheli. What happens right now? We're going to be discussing in case of inheritances, because that's what we were speaking about, where a person stole and then the father died and he inherited it. What does he have to do? Pay the heirs. So now this Mishnah says, what happens if a person comes and he tells his son, kunam, that he doesn't want that his son will ever benefit from him or his property? And then what happens? In met yirushenu. So if he dies, he could actually come and he could inherit him, right? That means the son can't benefit from it, because since the father said that what's his, it's only when he's alive. Because once he dies, it's not his anymore. So for he could benefit from the inheritance. But if he says the words b'chayav u'moto during his lifetime and after death, he met lo yirshenu. If he dies, he cannot. He does not inherit. Right? Why? Because at the end of the day, that means he died. It's still his. So therefore, v'yachzir levanav olechav. So then he has to return it, right, to the father's sons or to the father's brothers, meaning like to the uncles. So that means to the other heirs. V'im enlo. Now, what happens if he doesn't have enough money to buy food? Love u'balei chova ba'im v'nefrim. So what is it? He's going to borrow, right? And then what happens is that the ones that he borrowed from, they collect the debt from the state, right? And this is permitted because it's like it's bakifin. It's not like yashar, meaning he's not benefiting directly. It's something which is done indirectly. Okay, fine. Mishnah Yod Aleph. Yes, it's a trick. It's like an indirect benefit. So since the indirect benefit is what you're able to do in order to get an indirect benefit. Imagine somebody robs a ger, and then he swears falsely that he didn't do anything. And then the ger dies. He has to pay the kohanim, the principal, and the fifth. Now you're going to tell me, 1 second, but maybe he gets it, but kilu, there was no inheritors. That's why he brought down again. So he says, "V'Hasham," and he has to bring a korban Hasham to the mizbeach. Ne'emar says the pasuk, "Himen la'ish goel la'ashiv Hasham elav, Hasham mushav la'Hashem la'kol milvad elokim Hashem v'olav." What does that mean? He says, if the man has no relatives, right? So therefore, what does he have to do? He has to pay, right, the heir, the principal, and the fifth. So he says the guilt payment, which is Hasham, is returned to Hashem for the Kohen. Aside from the ram, right, which is basically the El Hasham, right? He says that the Kohen is going to provide for atonement. So basically, what's he saying? He comes and he says, the Asham goes to the Kohen, but also the Keren and the Chomish go to the Kohanim. The fifth and the Keren, the principal, go to the Kohanim. Now, what happens if he's bringing it up to Yerushalayim to give the money to the Kohanim and the Hasham to the Bet HaMikdash? And now this guy died. The children inherit him, not the Kohanim. He says the reason why is because when you're giving it to the Kohanim, it's for an atonement. But if he already died, you can't have an atonement. So it goes back to his estate. Okay? Hakesef yinaten levanav, the Hasham, the Korban Hasham, it's going to graze until it's going to become a blemish, right? And then what do you do? Once it has a blemish, you're going to sell it, and the money will go as a nidava, as a present to the Bet HaMikdash. Again, this is obviously because you don't need an atonement anymore. Because if the guy died, he doesn't need an atonement, so therefore, and then you can't bring the Korban either. Because if the Hasham was an atonement, and now it's not going to atone, so then that's it. It's like that. Wonderful day.